Hello fellow old schoolers. Today we have like an epic match between two of the most favorited decks on the channel. We have the Tropical Twister against Lure of the Land, and it's the first time these two very spicy brews has ever met, as far as I know. Let's go over the decks very quickly here. Tropical Twister is in essence a heavy blue-green control deck. Has a bunch of counter magic, like way more than is reasonable perhaps, but it uses those to good effect. And it has, I think in this particular tournament, it splashes red as well, only for the Wheel of Fortune, I think. The play is around Time Twister and Wheel of Fortune, drawing into a new hand and then casting Amnesia on the opponent, thus destroying his entire hand. And then you can play a threat like the Mahamoti Djinn or the Living Plane, making all the lands 1/1 creatures, and then winning through the Mahamoti Djinn or the lands, and he can keep protecting them with all his counter magic. It has all sorts of spicy things in that deck. It changes from time to time, sometimes deserts, but usually he plays with, I think he plays with a full play set of Drop of Honey in order to just destroy all the creatures. And he has 4 factories as well to make the kill. And he's coming up against Lure of the Land, and that's another favorite on this channel. Very spicy brew. Its essence is a green combo deck using the Living Plane as well, like the Tropical Twister does, but it has a more heavy combo element to it around that combo piece, where it uses Thicket Basilisk or the Wretched with Lure, just to destroy all the lands or steal all the lands with the Wretched. They can also use one-off combinations like Channel Fireball. There's Eurekas, and you can use that to play Triskelions. Use the Triskelions to shoot up the lands from that has become 1/1 creatures from the Living Plane. It can also play Elder Dragons, Nicol Bolas. It plays with that, or it used to. I think it does in this matchup as well. All in all, a very spicy brew. Very creative and cool. Both decks are. In terms of the matchup, that's really difficult to say. I think it must be the first time in the history of the universe that these archetypes has locked heads or butt heads. So there's no history behind them. I think as they are both combo decks, I think the slight edge before sideboard, I'll have to give that to Tropical Twister, because he has all that counter magic. So if he can block the single counter piece from the Lure of the Land, like after Channel he can counter the Fireball, or after Eureka he can counter the Nicol Bolas, or after the Living Planes he can counter the Thicket Basilisk or the Lure. If he just counters one of those combo pieces, everything falls apart. But it's not a given, because the Tropical Twister, he has a lot of difficulties removing permanents once they have hit the table. So if a Nicol Bolas gets out after a Eureka, that's game. He can't do anything to it before sideboard. He doesn't have control magics. He doesn't have any way to remove it. I think he has a single Sonic Blast, that's it. Likewise with another big beater, he'll have incredible difficulties doing anything against it. So the matchup will come down to if Lure of the Land can get a single threat out, a single big beater out, then the Tropical Twister will have a lot of trouble. But if the Tropical Twister can get an early start and keep patience, keep the counter magic up, he can keep the other guy from getting his combo pieces out. Perhaps. We'll have to see. This is round number 1. And we have the two players here. Tropical Twister on the left, on that tropical playmat. And without a playmat, we have the Lure of the Land. Showing off some fat loot there, with a signed ghost ship and some Brothers of Fire, I think it was. It might be his sideboard. Anyway, cutting a bit forward here. Does he have Ghost Ship and Brothers of Fire in the sideboard? He might have. I'm not sure. This is like, yeah, maximum spice in this particular matchup. Okay, there's a Sapphire and a Time Walk on the hands of the Tropical Twister. So, okay, yeah. Lure of the Land starting out quickly with a Llanowar Elf. Tropical Island into Sapphire. Now has counter magic. He might play the Time Walk here, and he does so. An Ancestral Recall. Wow, what a start from the Tropical Twister. Full power ahead. What's that? I think it's a Sylvan Library. Amazing. Wheel of Fortune. Okay, negating a lot of the card advantage here. What a start from Tropical Twister. Lure of the Land really had to put the brakes on him here. Drawing into Emerald. And then crumpling the Sapphire. Okay, fighting for every inch. This opening. Fast bond. More land. Even more land. The 3 factories. That's amazing. With the fast bond. It's a turbo start. Lure of the Land really is doing everything he can to keep the brakes on him. Anyway, I'm shutting myself off here. We have some Danish weather. So there's a lot of wind and rain in the background here. I'm sorry about that, but I needed a quiet place to do this. Anyway, Birds of Paradise coming out from Lure of the Land. But there's like an army of factories facing him at this point. And he lost the wretch there from the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, there's an Asnod's Altar passing the turn. And the Sylvan Library is working for Tropical Twister. He has counter magic, he has attackers, and now here they come. 2 factories, one of them gets pumped, so it's 5 points of damage there. And 2 blue mana sources untapped. Okay, defending factory hitting the table. Tropical Twister can't counter that. But knowing the Tropical Twister, he will most likely have some counter magic at this point. As said in the introduction to this game, he has an insane amount of counter magic in that deck. It's really a lot. Okay. Regrowthing. Regrowthing the Wheel of Fortune. Tropical Twister wisely keeps back here. And okay, he taps the elves, sacrifices the elves to the altar, and then wheels. And yeah, look at the hand of the Tropical Twister. It was a hand full of counterspells. Mana Drain, Power Sink, everything. Okay, what's he doing here? Attacking one of the factories. He could trade with him here, but he might have a crumble. Okay, so as he's running out of steam, the Lure of the Land at this point. He's used his regrowth trying to wheel into some more cards, but Tropical Twister won't allow it. And then he's sticking with that Sylvan Library, just getting more and more counterspells. It's a luck coming over with some factories, blocking one, and then pumping itself. Oh my god, okay, so yeah, Tropical Twister actually sacrificed one of his factories to do some damage there. Yeah, I suppose it's a bit difficult to... I think he should have attacked with just one of them and then threatening with a pump. But because he needs 2 blue mana untapped here to keep control. But he wants apparently he wants to just finish the game fast at this point. He's likely trying to dig for a crumble in order to remove that. Look at that, it's only counterspells. Almost, I think he has 5 or 6 counterspells on that hand. I mean, counter magic, power sink, spell blasts, mana drain. It's incredible. Okay, what can he do? The Lure of the Land. After that start from the Tropical Twister. Oh, Nicol Bolas hitting the table. That's mana draining it here. That's 8 colorless mana for Tropical Twister. This is such a great matchup. Nicol Bolas trying to hit the table here. Now there's a mana drain with 8 colorless magic. I wonder what he can use it for. Perhaps an amnesia at this point. I don't know. Stream of Life. Great. Stream of Life for 8 life. And he has his factories ready and some more counter magic ready. Should probably dig for some more mana sources if he can. The Tropical Twister. But he used the mana from the Nicol Bolas to power a Stream of Life. I mean, you don't see this every day in a tournament. It plays like this. It's so cool. Okay, coming over with a factory, offering a trade. He can pump it to 3-3 with the other factory, and that will just trade with the defending factory if Lure of the Land chooses to do so. Takes it on the chin though. Okay. Yep. Passing the turn. Tropical Twister gets down another bird. Yeah, he lacks that silver library that the Tropical Twister have at this point. Oh yeah, now he has all the life from the Stream of Life. He can use that to pump some into the silver library to keep some cards. It's 4 life a card you keep. So he's getting even more card advantage at this point. Dropping a drop of honey. And every time it's the upkeep of the Tropical Twister, that drop of honey will kill the smallest creature. Okay, so I think he sacrificed both Birds of Paradise at this point for a Time Twister. Having a full head and he just gets countered. He's really annoyed at this point. It seems just flinging the Time Twister into the table. So funny. It is like even more counter magic on the Tropical Twister. It's not like the deck. The deck only has 4 counter spells and a mana drain. Barely enough. Okay, tries to fireball him out. But the Tropical Twister, he's just insane. Yeah. Take your pick. Countering that as well. Trying to fireball him for a lot of damage here. Just to keep him from using that silver library, I suppose. No dice though. Yeah, reminding the Lure of the Land to tap both the factory and the City of Brass, taking damage from that, and then getting punched by 2 factories coming over. A Rook Egg here, getting countered again. Now the Tropical Twister is going for the kill at this point, countering every blocker, every defensive option of the Tropical Twister, and just digging with that silver library for more and more counter magic. Paying life if he has to, just to get even more. Okay, attacking with a factory as a trade. The defending factory blocks. Oh, it's a Maze of Ith though. That's the turn of events because you can't counter that Maze of Ith and it'll keep the factory right back. A very, very important draw for the Lure of the Land. He's at 5 points of life at this point. Getting out a Thicket Basilisk. Getting Power Sink though, doing a point of damage. He's at 4 points of life from that City of Brass. It gets tapped with the Power Sink. It actually becomes dangerous for him to play cards because he can, Tropical Twister can Power Sink them and just do damage through that by tapping his City of Brass. 4 life left. The Mace of Ith keeps him alive at this point. Barely holding on against that last surviving factory. So what to do here? Tapping out another Stream of Life. How many does he play with? It's amazing. Tournament deck with Streams of Life. It's so cool. Okay, passing the turn. But I mean, all that life, it'll just equal more cards from the Silver Library. So it makes sense when you think of it. Think about it in this setup. There's a Wheel of Fortune, a Time Twist, and a Crumble in hand. Trying to fireball him out. Okay, fireballing a lot of what he gained from that Stream of Life. The Tranquility won't help him. Yeah. Okay, going for broke here. Time Twister. Both Lure of the Land is without a hand, but he's tired of waiting. He wants a new hand. And the play here for the Tropical Twister is to try to draw into an Amnesia after the Time Twister, and then cast Amnesia on his opponent, just emptying his hand straight after the Time Twister. And with that Fast Bond, he has 5 mana ready. With that Fast Bond, he can put down even more lands and get enough for the Amnesia if he draws into one. Depends. Doesn't seem to be one there. Usually that's his kill move though. Using a draw 7 into the Amnesia. Okay, dropping even more lands, but he has a lot of life from that Stream of Life, so he can use the Fast Bond Now I can strip mine the Mace of Ith if he wants to. It's also a Brain Geyser. And I think that's a natural selection on his hand. So many spicy cards. I love it. Very long match, this one, actually. Okay, there's the natural selection. You can dig through the top 3 cards and put them back in any order. But he can also shuffle his deck. I think he should there. Oh, was that a factory? That's probably why he keeps it. So in this situation, it's actually only like a Sylvan Library, but there is that shuffle effect. And that makes it very good with a Sylvan Library. Personally, I think he should have waited. He should have used the Sylvan Library first. And once he gets into the situation with the Sylvan Library, only makes it so that all your top cards are bad cards for the situation, then you can use the natural selection to gain that shuffle. I think it was a bit premature to get that natural selection so early, but it's a minor thing anyway. And there's a Brain Geyser anyway. Library of Alexandria from the Lure of the Land. Can he dig through his deck and get back into this game? He's at 4 points of life. There's an Ellie from Cairo though, that's amazing. I didn't know he played with that. Countering it though, oh, such a cool card. It makes it so that he can't get below 1 point of life as long as Ellie from Cairo is in play. And as the Tropical Twister, he really lacks creature removal in that deck, playing only blue and green. I think he has a single Sonic Blast. It makes it so important for him to counter that Ellie from Cairo. Otherwise, I mean, it would be very, very difficult for him to remove it. And I know that the Lure of the Land, he plays with Channel, and I wonder if he can actually sacrifice a bunch of life, and then the Ellie from Cairo will keep him alive, and then Fireball. I'm not sure about that. I have to read up on it. Obviously, it's not a very common combination. Okay, so there's an open field now. A single Llanowar Elf, so he can attack with that factory, but there might be some removal on the hand of the... Yeah, but no, okay, no, okay. The Brain Geist is probably... Yeah, okay, Brain Geist is for 5. Okay, yep. Also an Amnesia and a Stream of Life. Another factory from that fast bond getting played. Then passing the turn. 3 blue mana untapped and a factory. He has some difficulties removing that Library of Alexandria though, so the Lure of the Land, he has that going for him. But not for long. When that Amnesia hits, and it will likely be played in the next turn, he'll discard the hand of the Lure of the Land. I don't know if he knows what he's against here. Perhaps he should, if he knows, he should perhaps try to empty his hand, knowing that with so many draws, draw 7 and then a Brain Geyser for 5, the odds of the Tropical Twister having an Amnesia at this point is very, very big. Okay, the Wretched hitting the table here. It's a 2/5 creature, I think, or 2/4, I can't remember, but anything that blocks it, if the Wretched survives, the controller of the Wretched takes control of all the creatures the Wretched has fought with. So it's a very, very flavorful black card. I remember I loved that artwork as a kid. I saw some bigger kids playing with it and I was in love instantly. It was like a magical time back then when you didn't know what was in the collections. It was just like an adventure, seeing a new card and not knowing its rarity or anything. Anyway, what's that? Okay, he plays the Wretched. Okay, so he casts Amnesia here. Very, very brutal. It makes it so that the opponent has to discard all non-land cards in his hand. And judging by this, that's almost probably all the cards of the Lure of the Land here. I think that might be game. Yeah, there we go. Wheel of Fortune, Fireballs, the Wretched, Lure, everything gone. Passing the turn. The Library of Alexandria is no longer usable. He has the Wretched as a defensive measure. and a single elf. Okay, Treskelion coming out. That was a huge draw. Tropical Twister needs to counter this if he can, and he can. No, he didn't have enough mana for a power sink, so he straight up counter spells it. Just so as to counter the counter power of the Lure of the Land here, drawing into even more counter magic. And it also shows that he has that power sink in hand. But if he attacks with the factories, Ravaged will probably kill one of the factories. The elf will block the other one, and then there's a single factory against the blocking the Ravaged. So the situation has stabilized for the Lure of the Land at this point. He's at 3 points of life though. Really, really pressured. There's a living plains. Okay, he plays with that as well. All lands are now 1/1 creatures, and then he attacks with... he attacks with all available... Okay, I don't know what's happening. Okay, he attacks with all available lands here. Keeping the tiger untapped. Okay, they're just fixing the situation here, because one of the lands had summoning sickness, so he used that to play the living plains, I think. Switching a bit over, and then attacking with a huge horde of 1/1 lands, making a killing move out of the living plane at this point. And yeah, Lure of the Land, he can only block 2, the rest will go in, and that's game. What an epic match. That's the first round of this insane matchup. So yeah, we'll have a quick halftime break here, and then we'll let these guys sideboard, and we'll be back with the second round of this, this spicy, very, very spicy setup. In terms of sideboard, I don't know what they sideboarded in. My prediction is that the Lure of the Land has probably sideboarded a lot of red blasts in, and that will give him the edge, I think, after sideboard, because he can now counter the other guy's counterspell and get his permanent out and get his kill move in. Just needs a single permanent, as said in the introduction to this matchup, and the Tropical Twister will have all sorts of trouble removing it. He could have control magics against the permanents, but the red blast will handle those as well. So if Lure of the Land has sideboarded like a full playset of red blasts in, I'll give the edge to him. I think Lure of the Land can put in some City in the Bottles as well. We have the Drop of Honeys, Tropical Twister, I'm not sure. Blue Blast perhaps against Fireballs? Could be. Perhaps putting in some more creatures. I'm not sure if he has his Mahamouchi Jinsen in his sideboard in this match. We didn't see any in the first match, so he might have made like a slight transformation sideboard, getting the big beaters in now. The first round I had to give the edge to Tropical Twister because of all the counter magic. With red blasts on the side of the Lure of the Land, I think it has shifted. So yeah, my money is on Lure of the Land in this second match, but let's see what happens. This is round number 2. And Lure of the Land is on the play here as he lost the previous match. Both players deciding to keep their hand. Starting off with the Llanowar Elf. Okay, mana screwed it seems. Passing the turn right back. Lure of the Land puts down an island and a sapphire. And now a tiger. Lure of the Land needs to discard here. Oh man. That's an unfortunate turn of events for him here. It's a volcanic island though, he might get something out now. But Tropical Twisters now has his counter magic up. There's an Arsenal's Altar. He can sacrifice creatures to that for 2 colorless mana. So he can get more stuff in. There's the first Amnesia hitting. It just throws away his entire hand in disgust. There was a channel and a fireball. Wheel of Fortune, I think, as well. Disgusting. Okay, as a revenge poke from the elf, drawing a single card, and says recall on Tropical Twister. I think this is too much. Regrowthing, then says to recall. This is bonkers. Insane game. I think it's game already. I think it's, yeah. You can
throw it down again at, I don't know, perhaps a 10 card card advantage. And the other guy's mana screwed. It doesn't matter if he's on the attack here. Yeah, it's at the end step of the Lure of the Land, Tropical Twister Ancestrals the second time in a row here. Really, really a power play from Tropical Twister. So dominating. Sylvan Library getting out. And just keeping back, he just wants to keep control here. Okay, Lure of the Land draws into a Tiger. Attacking again with the Elf. And there's a Factory to block. Casting a Crumble after it. He seems a bit annoyed, Lure of the Land, at this point, just flinging the cards, or perhaps they're just doing it for funsies. Countering the Crumble, obviously. Sylvan Library working. He can get into a Library of Alexandria here. Yeah, he has a Power Sink and a Recall in hand. Now attacking with the Factory. This is like such a dominating position. Bird hitting the table. There's one card in the hand of the Lure of the Land. Such a brutal start for him. He needs to get a draw 7 or something to equalize just a tiny bit here. Okay, Factory coming over, pumping it for 3. Okay, now passing the turn, Lure of the Land. Gets something here, looking through his graveyard. Might be a regrowth. Could be a Time Twister as well, I don't know. Okay, yeah, it was a regrowth. Regrowthing something here. What can he do? But he needs to go all in. Fireball channel, Time Twister could, yeah, he could go for the Time Twister. Trying to hope against all hope, against all odds that there isn't a counterspell. Sacrificing the bird for 2 colorless mana, tapping it for a blue mana. Yeah, then Time Twister, there's a Power Sink. Okay, he forfeits the game here. What a brutal showing this second match was. Really, really. Just the Tropical Twister flexing all over Lure of the Land. And I do feel bad for Lure of the Land here, because there is a bunch of games where that deck just functions smoothly, but and it's very stable and strong. But yeah, this one was a bit one-sided. At least the second round was. The first round was much more closely fought and really cool, and this one was just, yeah, really impressive. Tropical Twister crushing him completely. I think these are the sideboard options we see here. A couple of Blue Blast, and that is the Mahamoti Djinn I talked about, getting in from the sideboard, and an Energy Flux, I think, under that Crumble. So yeah, it all makes perfect sense. Another Energy Flux. So a couple of Energy Flux and an extra Crumble against the Factories perhaps, and just Blue Blasts against the Fireballs. So Tropical Twister advancing in the tournament, and we'll be back with some more games from the Swiss. This is the closing battles of the Swiss before the top 8. Thank you for watching this very spicy matchup between these creative decks, and I will see you in the next one.